Next up, interior lighting in the indoor environmental quality credit. This credit applies to the following categories, all for 1 to 2 points. The intent is to promote occupants' productivity, comfort and well-being by providing high-quality lighting. So what sits behind it? Studies of lighting in buildings have shown that workers are more comfortable and productive in an environment that is carefully illuminated and where lighting controls are provided for individual and group needs. Let's go over them here so we can go over the requirements quite quickly. So the first one is minimizing light fixture luminance, which helps reducing disability and discomfort glare. The limit is 2,500 candela per square meter. The second option, having light sources with a color rendering index above 80, and this helps approximate natural light. Thirdly, install lamps with a long life, which can lengthen the period over which the integrity of the lighting design is maintained. And it also reduces maintenance cost and lowers materials and resources inputs. A lamp life of 24,000 hours promotes the use of longer life fluorescents. The next strategy, use less direct-only overhead lighting. And this helps minimizing glare, reduces the perceived brightness of the direct luminaires, and reduces contrast between ceiling and luminaire. Next, having surfaces with high reflectance help make the space brighter through reflection, minimizing the difficulty of viewing light documents on dark surfaces. The specific surface reflectance values for ceiling, walls and floors are above the industry standard assumptions of 80, 50 and 20 respectively. Lastly, maintain a luminance ratio of less than 1 to 10. And this minimizes the amount of contrast that occupants experience when their work surface and the ceiling and the wall surface around them. Let's have a look at the requirements. Two options here. Option 1, lighting control for 1 point, and option 2, lighting quality for 1 point, together potentially for 2 points. Both are establishment criteria and there are no performance criteria. Let's have a look at option number 1. For at least 50% of the individual occupant spaces, have in place individual lighting controls that enable occupants to adjust the lighting to suit their individual task and preferences, with at least 3 lighting levels or seats. And this is on, off and mid-level. And you may ask, what is a mid-level? Mid-level is 30 to 70% of the maximum illumination level. For all shared multi-occupant spaces, such as meeting rooms, meet all of the following requirements. Have in place a multi-zone control system that enables all occupants to adjust the lighting to meet the group needs and preferences. Again, with at least 3 lighting levels, on, off and mid. Lighting for any presentation or projection wall must be separately controlled. And switches or manual controls must be located in the same space as the control luminaires. Basically, a person operating the controls must directly see whether they switch on or switch off the lights. Now for hospitality projects in specific, guest rooms are assumed to have adequate lighting control and therefore are not included in this credit calculation. Option 2, a lighting quality for 1 point, basically is the same as what I explained in the intent, but here choose 4 of the following strategies. So here we go. All regular occupied area illuminance should be 2,500 candela per square meter between 45 and 90 degrees from nadir. For the entire project, have a CRI of over 80. Option C, for 75% of the lighting load, have a rated life of more than 24,000 hours. Strategy D, have in place direct-only overhead lighting for 25% or less of the total connected lighting load for all regular occupied spaces. Strategy E, for at least 90% of the regular occupied floor area, meet or exceed the following threshold for area-weighted average surface reflectance. 85% for ceilings, 60% for walls, and 25% for floors. Strategy F, meet or exceed the following threshold for area-weighted average surface reflectance. 45% for work surfaces and 50% for movable partitions. G, for at least 75% of the regular occupied floor area, meet a ratio of average wall surface illuminance to average work surface luminance that does not exceed 1 to 10. And here you must also meet strategy E and F, or demonstrate an area-weighted surface reflector of at least 60% for the wall. Lastly, for at least 75% of the regular occupied floor area, meet a ratio of average ceiling illuminance to work surface illuminance that does not exceed 1 to 10. And here you must also meet strategy E and F, or demonstrate an area weighted surface reflectance of at least 85%. As I mentioned, these are all establishment criteria. There are no performance criteria to follow. When we look at the documentation that is required for this credit, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, for option 1, you need to identify and document a table of individual occupant and multi-occupant spaces and the lighting controls in each of the space. And then for option number 2, depending on the options that you take, strategy A to H, which 4 of them, you'll have to provide the documentation for these ones. Please bear in mind that for some of these strategies, you have to provide multiple lines of documentation, as you can see here. For this credit, no exemplary performance is available.